Hello and welcome to another video of Eternal Gains. Today I want to speak to you about another strategy, another Eternal Gains strategy. As you know, we are all about, compounding our assets, to make the most out of our capital and not gambling it away. And so I show you another relatively safe strategy today, how you can use your assets on the Phantom network to compound and actually auto-compound your rewards, your API. Let's get started. Now, the first thing you want to do is, as I explained in my last video, what I will link somewhere up here in the corner of the screen, you want to get some funds into the Phantom network. I spoke about this already long in the last video, so just real quick, you come over here to AnySwap. I will put the link in the description. You choose your starting network. So, for example, BSC. Now it will ask me, you want to switch your network to the smart chain? Yes, because that's where you start from. So I do that. And then you need to get some USDC or whatever coin from this list you have, you can bridge. So let's say you use USD, so you put your amount here. I don't have any USDC here, so obviously it's not working. I could use BNB if I wanted to, wrap BNB. Yeah, for example, 0.2. And then it tells me how much it would be on you see, this is very important because some assets are not compatible with all the other chains. So you have to choose an asset which is compatible with all the others. DAI, for example, is for sure. So if I take this amount, 0.009, no? Okay, probably it's too small, this amount. Anyways, so you put the amount in here, you put your target chain here, in this case, Phantom Network. You bridge it over. You see in this case, it's available on the other chain. So perfect. Bridge it over, swap it, confirm the transaction, and finish. Come over here, switch the network to Phantom. And now let's get into the actual strategy. What we are going to be using is the TOMP token, which is the first algorithmic stablecoin on Phantom Opera pegged to the price of 1 FTM. Okay? Meaning, usually the stablecoins are pegged to US dollar, which means, one DAI equals $1 or one USDC equals $1 and so on and so forth. But this guy's changed it a little bit around and pegged it to FTM, which means one TOMP should ideally be equal to 1 FTM. Now they have some different mechanisms in place how the peg is exactly working. If you're interested in that, just go to the documentation and you can read a bit more about the token, about the protocol, and about how they are maintaining their peg. Okay, so we're going to use this TOMP token. The first thing you want to do is to use whatever thing you are bridged over. Let's say you bridged over USDC. You come over here to SpookySwap, which is the main DEX of Phantom right now. You put in USDC, right? And you want to bridge it over to TOMP, okay? Of course, always make sure that you have a little bit of FTM in your wallet because you need it for gas. So if you don't have any FTM in your wallet, obviously the swapping will not work. Okay, so after you swapped to TOMP, you come over here to liquidity. And what you want to do now is to provide liquidity for one TOMP pair. You can choose whatever pair you want, or let's say whatever is available. I did FTM TOMP. I recommend you do this as well, and you will see in a second why, because the nicest gains you get on this pair right now. So you would need FTM and you would need TOMP in this case. So if you say max amount in FTM, then it tells you what is the max amount you can, the max amount you need in the other token. So how does liquidity providing works? When you provide liquidity, what you're actually doing is you give a certain amount of both tokens to the exchange. which is used later for other people if they want to swap from one coin to the other. So there's enough liquidity on both sides so they can perform the swap. This is important. This is basically the basic of liquidity providing, what you are doing. Now, there's one risk involved with liquidity providing, or let's say the main risk is impermanent loss, which means the ratio between two coins always needs to be the same, right? So if one coin rises extremely against the other coin, what's going to happen is the difference in value needs to be balanced out. So this would mean in the background, your position would change, so you would get more of the less valuable coin and less of the more valuable coin. So in case you have a crazy combination here with two very volatile assets, and it can happen you end up, and the one of those coins goes to zero, worst case, but it can happen, it goes to zero, then you would have almost 100% of your position in the coin which went to zero, and almost none of your position left in the coin which stayed the same or even went up, right? So that's why when you provide liquidity, you should always try to use as stable pairs as possible, so stable to each other, that is. And since TOMP is pegged to FTM, obviously the volatility between the two is almost zero. Now, the TOMP token has a little bit of volatility. Right now, it's not exactly 1-to-1. It's a little bit less. But I think this is also because Phantom is fairly new, and so far the adoption is not too big. So we are really, really early in this one. And I believe with a bigger adoption rate of Phantom, and then also liquidity and TOMP ultimately, will solve this problem in the long run. Okay, so what you need is you need half the amount of TOMP what you want to use for the auto compound, and half of this amount in FTM I would recommend. Okay, you supply and you confirm transaction, and that's it. I did this already, so I will show you now the real catch. Now comes the secret sauce, so to speak. After you provide a liquidity to this pool, FTM TOMP, you come over here to Yield Wolf. Okay, what is Yield Wolf? Yield Wolf is a so-called yield aggregator. So what they are doing is, because when you provide the liquidity over here, you get kind of a receipt for your share of the pool. You can see your share of the pool here. Of course, it's like a tiny amount, so it's nothing. But you will see the share of the pool here, and for that you get a receipt, right? And this is a so-called LP token, liquidity provider token. You have this on Uniswap, you have it on SushiSwap, you have it on any of those dexes. And this LP token you can now take and stake again if there is a pool available for it. And luckily, there is. So if you come over here to Yield Wolf and you look for TOMP, then you see they have two pairs for TOMP, VFTM T-shares and VFTM TOMP, and this is the one we want. Now what you need to participate in the pool is the VFTM TOMP LP. This is exactly what I was speaking about before, right? And you get a ridiculous 1,463% APY, a daily 0.76%, which is crazy, which is really, really, really good. Especially because you almost mitigated the fact that the risk of impermanent loss. Of course, FTM can go down in value, but you would not have impermanent loss between the pairs, which is a real advantage. All you want to do, you come over here, and when you do it for the first time, you have to approve it. Here will be the button will say approve. You put the max amount of your LP tokens, you deposit it. You confirm the transaction, you approve it first, then you deposit, and that's it. And as you can see, I already have some in here. Your staked amount. And yeah, it's working very well so far. Now, the catch with these things is that as more people participate in this pool, as smaller this API gets, right? So it's always important to be early. And yeah, the early bird catch the worm, as we used to say.